For most South Asians, when they land in US or UK, the real adjustment isn't the cold or the cuisine that they find in Europe or America. It's the toilet situation. Because we like to wash and they like to wipe. And this different in habits has been there since centuries. But the Europeans landed on the Indian shores centuries ago. So in this video, I'm going to discuss how historically the difference in the toilet habits was perceived by these two groups. And what did Shah Jahan, the man who built Taj Mahal, say about the habit of white men to not use water after a loo break. In 16th century Goa, the Portuguese had a problem. Many natives will convert and profess Catholic faith, but in private they will keep worshipping their Hindu gods and goddesses. So the Portuguese came up with a new rule. If anybody was found peeing while squatting or entering their homes without slippers on, they would be punished. So not only did the Portuguese perceive these habits to be part of the native religion, they thought if they could curtail these habits, it would lead to true Christianization of the natives. It's no wonder that even the Indians, including both Hindus and Muslims, had this sense of what habits make them separate from the white man. In late 1500s, Akbar invited some Catholic Jesuits to reside in Fatehpur Sikri for a year or so. Then we know of the famous British ambassador Thomas Roe, who stayed in the Mughal capital for years during the time of Jahangir. But by mid 1600s, we come to the reign of Shah Jahan, the monument builder who gave Taj Mahal to the world. But much before he became the Mughal emperor, he had rebelled against his father and spent a considerable amount of time in Bengal Suba in sort of an exile. One Portuguese account suggests that during this time, Shah Jahan had some run-ins with the Portuguese who were known as Franks in the Mughal Chronicles. Yeah, Goa was not the only port where the Portuguese got a foothold. In fact, they were present in several other ports all along the east and west coast of India. And one of those ports was Hooghly in Bengal. So when Shah Jahan eventually became an emperor and he heard that these Franks, the Portuguese, were building fortified settlements on this port in Hooghly, he decided to take revenge. In 1632, the Mughals attacked the Portuguese settlement in Hooghly and dragged 400 men and women as prisoners to Agra. The Mughal account of this event goes like this.
Of the Frankish prisoners, 400 men and women, young and old, along with the idols of those erroneous infidels, were brought before the Islam-nourishing Badshah. Then they were offered to accept Islam. Some who found it worthwhile to be thus ennobled by accepting the correct faith were shown imperial favor. Most of them turned their heads away from attaining this good fortune. Most of them perished in prison.
I find it very interesting that Mughal court chronicles like this could deploy the notions of infidelity or kufr and make accepting Islam as a condition for freedom to even Catholics, who are monotheists and in Islamic tradition the people of the book. In one sense, it's very clever because this is the time of the height of Mughal power. And the whole of the Mughal bureaucracy and military drew from Hindus, who were mostly free to pursue their religion as they saw fit. Anyways, to come to the point, it is during this clash between the Portuguese and the Mughals that Shah Jahan is supposed to have said this. He says, and I quote, "In truth, the Franks would be a great people, but for their having three most evil characteristics. First, they are kafirs or infidels. Secondly, they eat pork. And thirdly, they do not wash those parts from which replete nature expels the superfluous from the belly of the body." Meaning they don't wash after a loo break.